Next up here on 99.9 The Fan, Paul Ihander, Graham Hill, and joined today by East Carolina head football coach Blake Harrell. And coach, as you go through your first full spring, how are you trying to put your official stamp on this program?
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on first and foremost. And it's been a really good spring for our program. We're fired up about everything this fall and our schedule and our opponent and having some big time opponents on that schedule. But really just our spring has been focused on ourselves and focused on our players. And we told the players on Friday the most important people in this program is each player, and the most important uh, part of that for each player is the team. So we both need each other, and we got to make sure. And I think so much in college football right now, the programs that become the team the fastest are the programs that are going to be successful come fall. And that's been our focus, is obviously developing fundamentals and developing depth and developing players, but also developing our team and our culture as well.
Blake Harrell, ECU football coach, joined us this morning on Next Up alongside Paul Ihander. I'm Graham Hill. And Coach Harrell, speaking of your players, how have they responded to your leadership that you and your new coaching staff have put in place leading into this new season, especially after the strong finish that you guys had to last year?
We have awesome young men in our program, and they're just stand-up guys each and every day, and they go attack each and every day like it's the most important day of the year. And, finding ways to get better, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's out in the community, or whether it's in the weight room or on the football field, just finding ways they can improve themselves as individuals and make our team better. And they're a bunch of a fun group to be around, and the energy they bring into the building is contagious, and they understand they need each other and understand the importance of being a good teammate, and that will make everything go together and gel and help us in the future. So they've been a really good group to be around, and just the energy they have for each other right now and the love they have for each other is pretty cool. I think we had a pro day back in March, and they were in there encouraging the outgoing seniors who were doing their pro day. They were out there in there encouraging those guys in the weight room when they were doing the bench press or the vertical jump. And the scouts walked up to me afterwards like, man, that's the coolest, so that loudest environment, the most lit environment we've ever seen. And one of the scouts said that's a testament to the type of energy and the culture you have within your program and the love they have for each other. You can't hide that. You can't fake that. And I was afraid he was coming up to me like, hey, we're a little too loud. You need to calm it down. But he was just complimenting us on the energy we had for each other, and the way they carried themselves about each other and cared for each other was pretty cool.
Well, Coach, you are incredibly authentic. I think in a lot of the videos that we see in your coaching style and the interviews that we've heard from you, you don't stray away from certainly who you are. And I wonder how that plays into obviously the new ecosystem that we live in college football and college athletics. Where do you see yourself in that ecosystem as it continues to evolve, especially when you have transfer portals and you're still doing in-home visits, and you're probably developing a lot of calluses on your hands because as a relatively new head coach, you got to shake a lot of hands.
There's no question. I don't say no to anybody right now. I make sure I attend every little event and see everyone. And I think that's just who I am, who I want to be, who I want our program to be. It's just like, hey, we're not too good for any type of situation. We want to be out there going at it, and we're blue collar, and that's what our program's about. That's what our players about. That's what our staff is about. And to me, any team that has love, joy, energy within your atmosphere helps your atmosphere. We got the portal going on this week, but I'm not. Obviously I do worry about it. I do lose sleep over it, but at the same time, I see the smile on our kids' faces, the way they walk around the building, the energy they have, and the love they have for each other. And I think that goes a long ways, and I think it will in the future. I don't know exactly where the future of college football is going. If you would have told us 2 years ago is where it is now, people wouldn't have believed you. But at the same time, I think we got to do what's best for student athletes and helping them reach their goals and give them opportunities to be successful.
Blake Harrell is joining us on Next Up as we preview the Pirates' purple and gold game this upcoming Saturday at Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium. And Coach Harrell, let's talk about that. The changing landscape of college football, how important is it for you and your staff to evaluate your squad currently in a game like scenario like the spring game, especially when so many other programs across the country have moved away from that identity this past football season?
Yeah, a lot of people moved away from it for one reason or another. To me, they were talking about the portal and getting poached and those things. The spring game is something college football coaches have not looked forward to for years. It was always like, I hope it rains and thunderstorms on that day so we don't have to play. And it was really because the fear of fear of injury. you get to, practice 13, 14, 15, you're worried about losing a guy and not having him for the fall. And knock on wood, we want to make sure we take care of our players this last week of spring ball. But at the same time, anytime we get an opportunity to play in front of fans, be in Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium, and put a game-like environment together for our players, I think is key to helping them get more experience. We brought 30 new players in our program in January, 17 transfers, 13 high school freshmen. And I think for those guys, they can't get enough snaps right now. You get better at playing football by playing football. So if we can put them in those situations and replicate a game as much as possible, I think that will help us get better for the fall.
Now, Coach, you've got you mentioned blue collar when it comes to your team and, Eastern North Carolina and where you recruit, at least in terms of where the gospel of Pirate Nation is spread out. There's a lot of blue collar guys there too. How do you balance the need to bring in those character guys that fit into your vision of your program outside of, chasing that 4-star, that 5-star that the NIL collective or something is always clamoring for?
The most important thing within our team is the locker room, and that's the relationships with our players in the locker room, and being very cautious that you don't want to disrupt that and have any type of it's about you or about I or about me, and still make it about us. So as you're adding pieces to that locker room, you got to make sure it fits the culture of your locker room. And then certain things you maneuver and certain ways you go about the collective or rev share, you got to make sure that's reinforcing the team aspect of it. And then it's so easy for get caught up with, well, how much am I going to make, or how well am I going to do, or what's in it for me? And you got to make it more about the team and make it fair, but at the same time, give your program and your team the best opportunity to go win games on Saturday. So there's a fine balance there. I'm not sure anybody has the exact answers for it, but I think as long as you're keeping the team first and doing what's best for your program to win games, I think you have an opportunity to do what's right.
Coach, I'd like to transition to the upcoming season as you guys have a pivotal matchup to open the schedule August 29th, Thursday night up here in Raleigh, as you open the season with a rematch against NC State from the Military Bowl this past season. How much does that game from last season fuel your guys this offseason as you prepare for what's to come in your first campaign as the true head coach?
The big thing is, now we always talk about this, good or bad. You can't look out the rear view. You got to look out the windshield. And, 2024 and the way we finished 5-1, the best 6-game win streak since 2014 when they were 5-1, beat a P4 opponent, first time since 2018, won a P4 bowl game, opponent versus P4 bowl game, first time since 2002. So all those things are really great, but those are passes. That's 2024 team. That's what they accomplished. What's the 2025 team going to accomplish? It's tough to go beat an NC State, a well-coached Dave Doran team. I have the utmost respect for him and his program and what he's done there. Now you got to try to go beat them twice. That's going to be a really, really tough assignment. But at the same time, having a game one like that on your schedule and an opportunity to go play a team like that, that's something our players look forward to all summer long. Some ways fuels them to go work even harder and keep their focus where it should be. So, really tough assignment ahead for us, but looking forward to the opportunity as far as getting the opportunity to go play a in-state rival in NC State.
And Coach, if I can follow up on that, I'll just keep this short and sweet. Does the ending to last year's game prove that this game on the schedule also matters to NC State's football program as well?
I think anytime you're going to line up and play, on a Saturday or college football this time on a Thursday night, it matters to those guys. For fans out there to say that game doesn't matter, that go in each locker room and ask those kids how hard they've worked and how much they've how much sweat and blood and tears and all those things they put into it, and tell them the game doesn't matter. Every single game matters. It doesn't matter if it's game one or game two. If we're playing NC State, Campbell, Coastal Carolina, BYU, Army, Tulane, Memphis, it all matters, and it's all important. And I always say, whatever opponent we're playing that week, it's the biggest game of the year because it's the only opponent we have that week. And that'll be the same for week 1, week 2, week 10, whatever it may be. And, certainly I think it'll be a big game for those guys. It's their home opener. It's on a Thursday night for them. And it's a way to get started with their 2025 season. And obviously, it'll be the same for us.
He's Carolina head football coach Blake Harrell joining us here next up here on 99.9 The Fan. Coach, we started this conversation about you putting a stamp on your program, and so a lot of times players want to put their own stamps on the program in the age of turnover chains or swords or extra things that you do. So in 2025, do you expect changes in some of those traditions? Are those player led, or do you care if they eat a hot dog after an interception or a fumble recovery?
Those aren't the only things you focus on in the off season and focusing on day to day. I think there is certain ways you can help motivate players or help push them in and, reward behaviors that are positive behaviors. They help your team win football games, but at the same time, that can't be the focus. The focus has got to be the behavior itself and promoting that. But, for me as the head football coach, if there's certain things out there that can help us play better and go get wins and go secure victories, I'm all about it. But if it's not going to help us get wins, I'm not so sure I'm about it. So I think that's important. We got to keep the main thing, and that's blocking, tackling, taking care of the football, taking away the football, and getting off the field on third down. Keep the chains moving on third down. So those are the things that help you win the football game.
So no giant eye patches, then, is what you're saying for the entire defense if they take a pick six.
Are we keeping the third down money down celebration on interceptions?
I think the third downs will always be important. I think turnovers will always be important. So I think anytime, both sides of the football and kicking game as well, we can reemphasize those things. I do think there's a place for it. But coming from the head coach, I'm not sure that'd be my main focus.
Fair enough. Well, Coach, as someone who grew up right down the road from Greenville, certainly one thing that is important to the community of ECU is the fan and support. And for your team and your staff, what's your message to Pirate Nation as you guys get ready to enter this, I guess you could call it a new era of ECU football as you get ready to take the helm in your true first season leading the Pirates?
Yeah, I mean, what makes East Carolina, Greenville, 252, and East North Carolina as a whole so special is the people and the way they support East Carolina and the way they pack out Dowdy Fick. And we have a beautiful stadium, 50,000 seat stadium plus. And on game day, what makes it special is the energy. You go back to the bowl game, go back to Annapolis. Why was that game so special? It was because of the fans. When we came out to run out of the tunnel just before the game, I could hear the players behind me talking about the crowd and the energy. And that really we fed off that and took that energy right down the game into the game. And, the first drive of the game, we got a fourth down stop. And then offensively, we take the ball right down the field and score. And that was really because of our fan base. And that's what makes this place special. It's what's going to continue to make this place special moving forward. And just keeping those folks into it throughout the season and keeping them packing Dowdy Ficklen Stadium and their support is so crucial. And we just mentioned it a while ago, it's not about you, it's not about me, it's not about I, but it's about us. And that's not just for our locker room, but that's for all of Pirate Nation. Pulling together to, make something happen bigger than just one guy making it happen. It ain't about Blake Harrell. It ain't about just the 2025 football team. It's about Pirate Nation as a whole, putting something together special that we all can be proud of.
He's Carolina head football coach Blake Harrell here on Next Up on 99.9 The Fan. Coach, we appreciate your time, and we wish you all the luck in the upcoming season.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. Appreciate you.